Hello and welcome to this InDesign CC tutorial, and I have to thank Terry White because this is essentially, I guess, part of Terry White's InDesign CS6 tutorial, and I'm doing it essentially the same thing because you can do the same thing in CC. Anyway, we're going to start this off with, let's switch to InDesign first. First thing we're going to do is make sure our preferences in units is going to be in inches. Now you might be in points or picas right now, but we want to stick with inches just to make more sense out of this, especially with going to print. And then we're going to create this wind foiling magazine. And what we're going to do is create a document. And it's going to be letter size. So if you didn't know, this is in print, letter. We're going to do 3 pages, and you're going to have facing pages done, and just 1 column for now. We're going to have margins standard at 0.5, and we're going to have a bit of a bleed, just so you understand. Like a bleed is if you have like images that go right to the edge of the page, and if you actually have home printers that do that, then you probably don't need the bleed in here because they will actually print right to the edge. But normally what you do is you print on a much larger page, and then you just put the image across the edge, and then typically you'll have like an 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/4 of an inch bleed. I'll leave it at an 1/8 of an inch. And so when I create this, I get this, and you see this little red line on the outside? That's your bleed line. So if you bring the image all the way to the edge of the red line, the expectation is that you'll be printing on larger stock, and then you'll be trimming that edge off. Okay. Anyway, with InDesign, what you're going to be doing is it's a layout program. And so what we're going to do is lay out some objects. And the way we do that is we choose the rectangular frame tool here, and we're just going to draw a frame here. And we're going to put an image in that frame. Okay. Now the image we're going to place in there, we just go File, Place, and then we look for an image. And I can't remember which one I used last time. I think I used, which one did I use? This one? I can't even remember. I'm just going to use that one. Click OK. Open. And now you notice it's in the frame, but it's obviously too large. So what we can do is we can use these tools. Fill frame proportionately, and that brings it down. You do have this option too, to fill like this, so you get the whole picture in the frame, but typically we want to do this. And if it's not large enough, we can enlarge the frame. Oop, that just did another one. Hold on, grab the plane tool here. I'll enlarge this slightly, okay? Just so that we get the whole image in. There we go. And then just do this again, and it moves it down. And I like that the way it is. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, and this is really cool, I really like this. What you can do is you can actually select multiple files. So I'm going to place multiple files. So I'm going to select, let's take a look at a few of these. Let's do something different. Let's take some from down here. Yeah, let's do some of these different shots. And maybe this one. Okay. And I'm going to go open. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag out a box like this. And then I'm going to hit the right arrow key. And you can see how it's separated it into 3. Now if I let go, I get all these images here. And if I go like this, or like this, it opens it up. And if I close it down to here and do the same thing, I can get the images just the way I like them. And maybe one more time. There we go. And so now I've got them evenly spread out and put down here. Okay. Now we're going to put in a bit of text. So the text we're going to put in is the heading first. So we'll have a main heading here. And I'm going to have another little text box. Actually, I'll type it in first. Wind foiling, which is going to be the new sport that I'm going to take up. And let's make it larger. Let's choose a better font first of all. I'm going to choose Avenir. What's Avenir? And I'm going to make it black. And to increase the size of the font, if you just hold down the Command key and Shift, it would be Control on a Windows machine, and then hit the period, which is the greater than sign. And I got foiling. Let's fix that. Wind foiling. Okay. And here we just select it again. And then just keep increasing until it's at the right size, which will be pretty much there. Okay. If I choose the text tool, you'll notice that I do get the alignment option. So I'm just going to center it and just center it slightly like that. And I think I'm going to leave it there, but I'm going to move this up. And since this is, I put the text over top, it's going to fall underneath that. And just until it touches the text. There, right there. And then I'm going to do another text box. I'll put it up a little higher this time, but I'm going to move it down eventually. And it's going to say, the world of. Then we're going to stick with Avenir. Okay, and again, we'll increase the size by holding Command Shift and just until it's about that big. And then I am going to move it down manually with the cursor key until I have it in a spot that I like. I'm just going to move it over a touch so it's aligned. There we go. Now I am going to put some text here. Well, first is the heading. Put in the subheading. It's going to say feel the excitement and freedom. And again, that is going to be Avenir. And we will again hold down Command, Shift, and the period until it's about that big. Okay, now we're going to add another text box below, which will hold our copy, essentially. And once we have this, if you just select that box, you also get this option over here, which is columns. And we're going to make it into 3 columns. And to make it so we can see what it looks like with text, you actually have the option under Type to fill with placeholder text. And there you go. And again, we are going to make this, if I click in there and hit Command A, Avenir. There we go. And we'll just keep that size. Okay, now we're going to make a few adjustments here. We're going to change this first paragraph to have a drop cap. Okay, and the way we do that is if we go to Type, and we go to Paragraph, actually paragraph here, and then we type in a drop cap. We're just going to make it 3, and just 1 character. Like if we did this, it would do the first 2 characters, but for this one, we're just going to do 1 character. So we can actually, before, instead of closing this up, I'm going to place this one over here. There we go. Under my paragraphs. Now, for the rest of it, I'm just going to have a regular paragraph style, so that's fine like that. Now, the only other thing I want to do is I want to change some of these colors here. So I would like to have the color of my text to match some of the images that I've selected. And so the way you do that is you choose the color theme tool here. And if I grab it, it gives you a little eyedropper. And then you can choose a color. So I'm in kind of a dark blue color here, so I'm going to choose that there. And see how I end up with a dark blue? It also chooses colors that are within here. They're also similar. And so I'm going to choose this color, and that's going to be my main heading color. So now I can highlight this, okay, and it changes that color. I'm not sure if I like that. I think I like the lighter color. I'm going to choose this one. Yes, I like that better. Now what I will do though is I am going to do this color, and I will choose it for this. Oops, let's undo that. I need to highlight the text itself. Oops, can you put all of it? There. Okay, and I'm going to highlight this one as well. Oops, undo that. That's not how it works. Hold on. Slowly, I'm not highlighting. Let's see. There. I'm not having a lot of luck with this. Hold on here. There. That's half. And let's get the other half. There. Did I miss a letter? There. Okay. I think that did it. Okay. Anyway, now that I have essentially the design done, what I can do is there's a few little modifications I want to make here. It's going to bring the text up a little higher. Like the way that looks. Maybe bring this down just a touch. There we go. Now what you can do is you want to maintain this font style, okay, and all the different coloring for in the future. So what you can do is you can add paragraph styles. So what I'm going to do is if I select this, and then I go to my paragraph styles, which is there, or I can go to it here, I can say add a paragraph style, which is create new style here, and I can call this one main heading. And if I select this, if I highlight a text object, it'll change the font size, color, everything like that. This is going to be a subheading, so I'm going to add a new one for that. And I'll call that subheading. And I am going to call this paragraph, so let me just highlight that paragraph there, because that has a drop cap. I'm going to call that first paragraph. First paragraph. And then the main part of the text, all this stuff here, I'm just going to call that body. So now I have 3 styles that I can use, or 4 styles that I can use in the future. Okay, and I'm going to be needing it for the next page. So on the next page, to get there, all I have to do is scroll down like this, and there we go. And that's 2 pages. And I'm just going to scroll over here because what we're going to put on next are page numbers. Now, let's see if I can zoom in here. And scroll down a touch. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in page numbers right there. And I could type the word page and it would appear there, except the only problem is this is only going to appear on this page unless I do something. So let's undo that. And what I need to do is go to what's called my master. So if I click on my master, which is here, it looks essentially the same, and then do the same thing, this will now appear on every single page. If I take the word page, it'll appear on every single page, but we don't want that. We actually want the page number. So the page number, if you go down to here and go to Insert Special Character and go to Markers, you can say place the current page number there. And you will get a placeholder item there. Now you can change this now, the font, and obviously the font that I'm going to change it to is Avenir. And I'm just going to leave it just like that. It's just about the right size. That's just what I want. And the only other thing I need, though, is I need an opposing page as well. So I'm going to Command 0. We'll bring me back to here. And I need a page one on the other side. So in order for me to do that, if I hold down the Option key, see how I get the two arrows there? That actually will copy that exact object over to here. Now, once I've got this object here, it's not going to look right if I have the number there. So what I need to do, obviously, is write justify. So if I click to the text tool, I get the justification on there, and it pushes it to the right. And so now I have my page numbers. And if I go back to my pages, you see I have a page 1 here. And if I go here, I have a page 2. If I go there, I have a page 3. Command 0, and we will begin this. The first thing we're going to do is put in a heading. And like this. And again, we're going to say travel the world, searching for wind. Okay. And what we're going to do with that is change the style of that to a heading, so a paragraph style to a subheading. So if I do that, you notice it automatically changes, which makes it so much easier and such consistency if you do it that way. I'm just going to modify the size now. There we go. And I'm going to add another text box, which I will put in here, which will fill the whole frame. Actually, not the whole frame, because I'm going to be throwing in a photograph there. And we're going to break this one up into 3 columns, which is this item here. And remember, you had to move to the selection tool in order to do that. Okay. And then again, we're going to throw in placeholder text. Fill with placeholder text, and we will choose our body copy style first. And then for your first paragraph, we will highlight the first paragraph. And you just really have to do the first lines and do the first paragraph. There you go. And what we're going to do next is throw in a photograph. We're going to place a photograph, and we're going to select one very carefully. You want one that has kind of like a nice sort of, you want the full sail in there. Like this one looks good. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to choose open. Oh, hold on. I accidentally put it in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it in here, like this. And if I hold down the option, oops, hold on, undo. If I hold down, I think it's Command, actually, Command and Shift, it will adjust the size of the image and the frame. There we go. And what I want to do is I want the text to wrap around this, but wrapping it around the actual sail. But in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to remove this and then replace this image. So to do that, I am going to go into here and edit with Photoshop. And this will take a second to load up. Hopefully not too long. My computer is decently fast. Probably should have loaded it up first. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Let's turn off that timeline that I was doing cinemagraphs with. There we go. And let's go Command 0 so you can see it. And move it down one. There we go. And to remove this background, I would use the Magic Wand tool. Make sure Contiguous is on so it doesn't select other colors. Select, and look at that. Perfect. Remove this. throw it in the trash. So now I can just hit delete, and it deletes the background. And so I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go save. And I'm going to save it as a PSD. So it'll be the same name, but it'll be a PSD. Click OK. And now I can flip back to InDesign. And I'm going to do replace on this. So I'm just going to go here and go place. And I'm going to find the PSD version of it and go to open. And it'll do an automatic replace. You see that I've got a transparent background. Now, while this image is selected, I can choose my different wrap options. So what I can do is, I've got text wrap here, but there is text wrap. Text wrap, is it under object? Let me just look it up. Whenever you're looking for something, you can do this. Text wrap. And when you do this, it shows you where it is, which is so cool. So it's under window, and then you just choose text wrap. So I do this, and mine opens up over here because it was on the side. Okay? Now, what you want is, you don't want it going through. This means text is going through. And this is wrap around a bounding box. If I do that, it goes right to the edge of the box. This one says, go around the object. However, it's saying both sides, left and right sides. But same as clipping? No, I don't want that. I want it to detect the edges. And the edges are the edges of the object. And you see how it just now formed around the object, which is so cool. Anyway, so you want this to be a little bit more spaced out. So what I'm going to do is, select this. And, oh, this is it here. I was looking at everything else. But just that little edge that's forming, that's saying, I want the text not to come that close to my image. Hold on. One more time. And then, there. That's the one I wanted. Center content. And now I've got a decent size object there. Sorry that took so long. Okay. Anyway, so you can see how the page is forming. On this one, what we're going to do is just go over here. We're just going to do a simple bounding box just so you can see how you'd throw in just a normal graphic. So go like this, make the object. Okay, and that's text. And we can, if we select objects here, we can go to our 3 columns. Then we can go to our type, we can fill with placeholder text. And then all we're going to do is insert an image. So we're going to place an image in here. And we'll choose this one. Oops, and I didn't deselect, so that's okay. There we go. And if we place an image in, that's way too big. So I can go like this and shrink it down. Shrink it down. Hold in command. Just move it over. See that pink line in front says it's centered. Okay, and I'm just going to place that there. And I want the text to wrap around it again. So if I go to my text wrap tool and say go around, and then if I increase the space around it, it makes it more reasonable. And it's a little bit too tight on the text here, so I am going to shrink it down again a bit, just so that the text looks a little more reasonable. Okay, and that's going to be it for the tutorial for now. There's obviously a lot more you can do in terms of your own personal design. Sorry that was a little not the best tutorial, but hopefully this will help you with your work with